Groundhog Day 2024. Will Punxsutawney Phil see his shadow? The forecast says. Groundhog Day is a time-honored tradition in the United States, celebrated annually on February 2nd. The most famous Groundhog Day celebration takes place in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, where a groundhog named Punxsutawney Phil emerges from his burrow to predict the weather for the coming weeks. According to folklore, if Phil sees his shadow, there will be 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't, spring will arrive early. The tradition of Groundhog Day has its roots in ancient European weather lore, particularly the celebration of Candlemas Day. German immigrants brought the tradition to the United States, where it evolved into the modern-day spectacle of Punxsutawney Phil's prognostication. In recent years, the accuracy of Punxsutawney Phil's predictions has been a topic of debate, with some viewing it as a fun and quirky tradition rather than a reliable weather forecast. Nevertheless, the event continues to draw crowds and media attention, with thousands of spectators gathering in Punxsutawney each year to witness the groundhog's appearance. History of Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day has a long history, dating back to ancient European traditions. It is rooted in the pagan festival of Imbolc, which marked the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. It was believed that the weather on this day was a predictor of the coming spring. When German settlers arrived in the United States, they brought with them the tradition of Candlemas Day, which also involved weather predictions based on the behavior of animals, particularly the badger. The first official Groundhog Day in the United States took place in 1887 in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, with Punxsutawney Phil as the star of the show. Since then, the event has grown in popularity, becoming a beloved tradition that captures the public's imagination and serves as a light-hearted way to mark the midpoint of winter. Punxsutawney Phil. The weather prognosticator Punxsutawney Phil, the famous groundhog, has become an iconic figure in American folklore. Every year on February 2nd, Phil emerges from his burrow to make his weather prediction. If he sees his shadow, it is believed that there will be 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see his shadow, it is said that spring will arrive early. While the accuracy of Phil's predictions has been a subject of skepticism, the tradition of Groundhog Day and the spectacle of Phil's appearance continue to captivate audiences. The Punxsutawney Groundhog Club, responsible for organizing the event, takes great care of Phil, ensuring his well-being and providing him with a comfortable environment in which to make his annual prognostication. The forecast for Groundhog Day 2024. As the date approaches, anticipation builds around whether Punxsutawney Phil will see his shadow in 2024. Weather forecasters and enthusiasts alike eagerly await the groundhog's prediction, as it often captures the public's imagination and serves as a light-hearted way to mark the midpoint of winter. The forecast for Groundhog Day 2024 is a subject of great interest, with weather experts closely monitoring conditions leading up to February 2nd. While Punxsutawney Phil's prediction is based on folklore rather than meteorology, it's always interesting to see how it aligns with actual weather patterns in the weeks following Groundhog Day. Conclusion. Groundhog Day 2024 promises to be an exciting event as people eagerly await Punxsutawney Phil's prediction. Whether he sees his shadow or not, the tradition of Groundhog Day continues to captivate and entertain, reminding us of the enduring charm of folklore and the joy of coming together to celebrate the quirks of nature. It's a time-honored tradition that brings communities together and adds a touch of whimsy to the winter months. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration last year compared Punxsutawney Phil's forecast to the national weather over the past decade and found on average, Phil has gotten it right 40% of the time. Going back all the way to his first prediction in 1887, he's been right only 39% of the time, according to an analysis from Stormfact's Weather Almanac. Phil has predicted 6 more weeks of winter more than 100 times. 10 years were lost because no records were kept, organizers previously said. The last time Punxsutawney Phil did not see his shadow was in 2020, and before that in 2019, offering a back-to-back dose of his rare early spring prediction. In conclusion, Groundhog Day is a beloved tradition that has stood the test of time, capturing the hearts and minds of people across the United States. Whether or not Punxsutawney Phil sees his shadow in 2024, the event serves as a reminder of the enduring human fascination with nature and the changing of seasons. It's a time to come together, have some fun, and look forward to the arrival of spring. So, will Punxsutawney Phil see his shadow in 2024? We'll have to wait and see.